Hello, everyone. My name is Orville House, and I am here to talk to you today about the Test Ready in 37 Days, creating a clear path for the HiSET Success in the Corrections Classroom. I am a ABE teacher in a minimum security prison in Indiana. I've been teaching for about 10 years. During this time, I've had to adapt to several different assessment tests. The TABE 910 to 1112, the HiSET from the task. We've got the GED to task. There's been several I've been a part of. So throughout these changes, I've learned to adapt material in the classroom and deliver the material to the students. So that's where this presentation is coming from today, is just to be able to share for you guys to maybe have a new tool or a new way of thinking about things. So problems in the correction classroom, we have to learn to adapt to the achievement gap, the loss of classroom time, especially the unclear path for students, and the information overload. Within the corrections classroom, there's a significant gap when it comes to the achievement level of the students, with functioning level, whether that would be because of special education or just their lifestyle in general. Loss of classroom time, especially over the last couple of years with COVID, we've had to cancel a lot of face-to-face classroom instruction. So this plan actually came to mind about a year ago, within our transition from the HiSET, from the task to the HiSET. So it was out of that face-to-face cancellations. The unclear path is a pretty big problem, especially in my classroom with students. They tend to get all these books that we have in the classroom, and they don't know where to start. They don't know which book to go to. And so I like to try to take all the curriculum that we have and package it together and say, here's what we need to do. So that cuts down on the information overload as well. So the solution, the instructors need a tool to bridge the gap, to enable the distance learning through cancellations and provide a pathway to students and control that information overload. Today, I'll be talking about the HiSET preparation series from New Readers Press. That is not the only books that we have in the classroom, but that's primarily what we ask students to work out of, because it is proven. So it bridges that gap simultaneously between both sides of the students that are on the high end and the students that are trying to get a higher NRS level to be able to qualify for that HiSET or GED, whatever test you have in your state. This package that I've got in my class, it allows me to quickly get distance learning ready for students. If I come in one day and we've on lockdown or something like that, I can just be like, hey, each student is to do 2 days worth of the lessons over the next couple of days in order to make up for that face-to-face class time loss. It provides that clear pathway for students to work through the curriculum and gain the strength needed in order to succeed on the HiSET. And again, it controls that information flow to the students. So as I said, we primarily use this preparation series for the HiSET from New Readers Press. To me, it's one of the best series out there to get them ready for the HiSET. There are obviously other books, but this is all kind of put together and pinned up in a nice little package for the students. This 37-day plan is unique. It's been tested not only in my classroom, but there's been several classrooms throughout the state that we have pushed this plan out to. It's functional. It fulfills all the needs that we need in the correctional environment. Like I said earlier, it's clear and packaged up for the students that they can go in and they can just know what they're going to do from day to day, and there's no guessing. and it's authentic. It was designed to walk the students through the material in a timely manner. I keep saying 37 days, but it doesn't have to be 37 days. It's 37 chunks, if you will. My students, I start them out by talking about, if you do all of these lessons as I present them to you, in 37 days, you will be HiSET ready. And if they do it in the 37 days, and they do each day, they do the 5 lessons that are allotted, I can almost guarantee them that they're going to pass that test in the 37 days if they do what they need to, work with the tutors, work with myself. Like I said, I've been using this for about a year and have rolled it out to several different sites. So we'll get into that in a little bit more. There are a lot of benefits to this besides the distance learning aspect, and it's simple and quick for students to understand. I give them the packet right there on the first day and explain, what's expected of them, what I'm willing to do to help them through their process of obtaining their HSE. The students, sometimes they lack the buy-in at first, but once they see that it's a clear path, then they buy in a lot more. I do have some of those students that like to skip around in the material, and once I show them the path that takes them from point A to point B, all the way through the end, they begin to buy into that program a lot more. One of the key things for me is that increase to the completion, that speed to completion. I don't know about everyone else, but my classroom, I can seat about 15 to 20, and there's people on the waiting list. So I want to get people through in a quick manner. Not to say that I shove everybody through, but I want to get them through as quickly as I can, so I can reach more of our target population with the need for their HSE. The design process. One of the things that I had to think about going into this was what curriculum did I want to use and was the most successful in my classroom. In my opinion, adult education is adult education. It doesn't matter what name is on the front of the book, but like I said earlier, with this HiSET preparation series, it wasn't just your run-of-the-mill curriculum. It had a lot to offer. It has the crosswalk between the actual curriculum and then small study helps to get the students where they need to be if they've already been through the books. So it was a clear choice for me to go with this HiSET preparation series. And I just wanted to create something that was easy to use and showed the students what they needed to do from start to finish. The base of a good plan is the research, the first and foremost. What's our main goal? What are we trying to do here? Are we trying to get students through quickly? Are we trying to make sure that they cover every single base that they need to, check every box? Is there a classroom out there that needs to have maybe a less of a from point A all the way through all the books, and maybe they need to get through a little bit quicker? In my 10 years here, I've had probably all of the above. I've had students and classrooms that I had to make sure that each box was checked. So that was my first thing in every design that I personally do in my classroom. I first sit down and I say, what is my outcome? What do I want to do here? So I base, like I said, on the HiSET at a glance. So this is, you can see the HiSET at a glance over there on the right side, the orange part. What standards are covered on the test? What percentage of the test is algebra? What percentage of the test is numbers and quantity, things of that nature. Going from the task to the HiSET was kind of difficult for my students, just in the fact that we'll take writing, for example. In the writing test, I sent a bunch of guys to the test the first time, and a lot of them come back and failed the essay. And I didn't realize that there was a personal experience needed. And that could have been easily avoided by going to the test at a glance and looking a little bit more in depth. So if you like the idea of a walkthrough, such as I'm talking about today, and you don't necessarily like my design, then it starts at that research point. What do you want to use in your classroom? What do you need it to look like? So I use primarily the test at a glance for the HiSET, and then the New Readers Press correlations. And I have links to the correlations in the slides today that you can go and look. I'm gonna try to show you one or two of them so you can see. And then the design is the second part that is very important. The students need an efficient path to the HSE. Not only do they need a efficient path, but they need a path that they can see. One of the reasons why I've got this path together is it takes the need of a big folder for them to keep all their scrap paper in. I print this out on an 11 by 17 page, and I fold it up like a book and I staple it, and they've got all of that right there together with them. So it's almost like an additional book for them to carry around and use. So that design, again, it's really nice for them to be able to have everything they need right there together. In my time using this, I've had many students that say that this is what got them through to the HiSET. In my 37 days, I can almost tell you how the student's going to do based on where they're at with the days, what they do in the classroom, their communication in the classroom, things of that nature. But with this 37 days, if they get to day 16, they got a high likelihood of passing the test. If they get to day 20 to 26, I can almost guarantee them to pass the test, as long as they're doing it on their own, and they're going back over what they've missed. So just to show you what I was working with, if you haven't looked at the correlations for the HiSET preparation series, or even if you're on the GED and you've got the New Readers Press GED books, New Readers Press is really nice that they have all these correlations already worked out for you. They've got them aligned to the books that they have in their on their site. And then they have this thing called the crosswalk. And if I'm done with the HiSET preparation and the student needs more support with that, then I can go to that crosswalk and it'll show me their TABE score boost or their HiSET score boost or whatever other material they have that I can go back and get that. So if we were to look here at the correlation chart, you can see on this one, this is the language arts. This one's a language arts reading. So it tells you what page things are going to be on, and it tells you the standards and everything that you need to know based on this book. So if we were to go back and we were to look at the math side of things, we can see a standards description here, and we can see exactly what page that's going to fall on the HiSET math book. With that being said, I've got that very specific standard marker that's there. And if I cover that lesson in the book and then I need more, then I can go to that crosswalk and it will show me the score boost for the HiSET. I was holding up there the critical thinking for the science and social studies, but it's a direct correlation, and it's really nice because it takes the work out of me aligning the curriculum to the standards. It's already there, and I can just look and I can say, hey, right there is what I need for today, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever day that I'm working on that material with the students. And so with that being said, there's times that I've had to go back into this design that I've created and beef it up a little bit. When I first started, I didn't have all of the essays in there on the plan. I just had about 6 or 7, and I noticed that some of the students needed more support with the essay, so I had to put some more in there. So it's not something that has to be concrete. This is my plan, and I'm going to stick through it for the whole duration of the testing service that you have at that time. So one of the best things that I can impart to anyone that is in a correctional classroom is you have to choose the format that fits your classroom. What plan format is needed for my classroom is not going to be the same that is needed at a different facility in Indiana because of the way that the classes are ran and the facility is run. So in my plan, one of the things that I do right off is I have an introduction to let the students know what their expectations are. I've got a first page that's written out for them that kind of introduces them to the walkthrough, what it's intended to do, how it will help, the little components of it. The plan overview shows them the included lessons. I went a step further after I had designed it, and I have the plan overview with all the lessons that are in it, but then on the very next page, I have it where they can record what they're getting on those lessons, and then a overview of the whole book and all of the books together. So the overview is important for me because it lets my students know what they're looking at. Each day there's one lesson from each subject, and again, if it doesn't fit your classroom to have five lessons a day, you might choose to do 3 on one day, 2 on the next, and split it up for a longer duration. One of my main things is I have 3 classes. So 3 2-hour classes. I need the students to know exactly what's expected of them when they walk in the door, what their goal is for that day. So I chose to do the 1 lesson a day. Now, not every student completes 5 lessons during my class time. They might get 2 lessons done, and then the next, when they go back to the dorm and they're sitting on their bunks and they're waiting on things to happen here at the facility, they can be working and be able to use that time more effectively. Throughout the plan, I have 15 essays, so it covers that whole writing for the essay book, all 15 of the essays, and I have it to where they're getting an essay once a week. So every 5 lessons, there's an essay for them to do. In saying that, that gives them the practice to be able to know how to write that essay, how to edit the essay, and the growth from essay 1 all the way to essay 15 is I see it a lot in my students. For my plan, the format, I chose not to put pretest at the beginning of it. All of these HiSET books, they have pretest at the beginning. I chose not to put those in there because of the students trying to learn based on those pretests. So, but there is a practice test at the end for them to be able to look at and be able to use to see how effective the instruction was for them. The plan itself, as an accompaniment to my plan, I have developed a HiSET math notebook, I guess you can call it. Basically, every lesson that's in this HiSET, this math for HiSET book, I read through and I wrote questions out for each one of the lessons. So there's 206 questions that I use in my classroom for them to be able to kind of bolster what they're doing in the book. So my thought was, if I could just sit down and work through the whole book with all my students, how much better they would be off, how much better they would do. And so one night I was sitting down at home, and the kids were doing stuff, and I had some free time, and I picked up the book and I started writing questions out. And I said, you know what, if I could sit next to them and ask them these questions, they would learn so much better. So now they have 206 questions. As they're working through each one of those lessons, they can read those questions and take notes based on those questions. If we were to look at it, I've got in the unit 1, lesson 1, I've got what are real numbers is one of the questions. Later on in the lesson, I say why is place value important? So it gives the students the ability to think in their own terms, their own life examples, and write those down to be able to support their learning. It helps students keep track of their work. When I first started, I gave everybody a folder to keep all their scrap paper in, and beyond that, the folder would rip. They would get all kinds of scrap paper just stacked up in it. So this plan, it keeps all of those things together, stapled, where they can just go back and they can review as they need to. So it helps in reviewing lessons right before the test. Next week, I've got 11 students going to be taking the HSE test. And so they can go back and they can take their books and they can say, what did I learn about functions, and be able to go back easily and look at that. So with that, I chose to create this in Excel. I'm an Excel person through and through. When it comes to a lot of things, people ask why I chose Excel to do something that probably should have been a Word-based document, but you've got so much more control over formatting of each page. So that's why I chose Excel. So if you were to design something like this based on some of these books, you might choose to do a Word document. You might choose to use Publisher or any other number of platforms. But this one is in Excel. So you might see some things when you're looking through it that might look a little weird, and it's just because of the formatting that I chose to use during this application of it. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of share. Excuse me, I'm gonna get this off the desk. As I talked about it being something that was stapled together, and it's a nice size book, and it's one of those things where I like the fact that it can be used to review each one of them, but it's not the format that's going to work for everyone. So whenever you get this this plan, I've given it to them so they can get it out to you guys. For these books, you might choose not to put it in the booklet format that I've got. It can be just printed off in the regular printer paper and stapled together in week packets or whatever the case may be. So it is something that is usable. You can change it. You can change the formatting of it whenever it comes to the printing. It is something that is useful in my mind. And as I said earlier. And I'm just kind of reviewing before we open it up for questions. But as I said earlier, with my students, if they get to day 20 to 26, they have a really high likelihood of passing. Now I'm coupling that with other things and not just this program. So don't misinterpret that I just hand this to them and I'm telling them to just work through it. There's other things that are happening in the classroom to kind of build up that understanding. So when you're looking at this and you want it, you might want to go ahead and look and see how you can change it to fit your classroom. The correlations, as I said, it's one of the best tools that you can have for the books because these books might not fit your classroom. But I just wanted to share today how that this has changed the way I look at things. I've had many students come back to me and say, Mr. House, if it wasn't for your plan and chunking it like that, I would have been so overwhelmed and it would have took me so much longer. You can review with your students to see what their pace is through the class, and you can help them get through a little bit faster. Or you might say, hey, you're working through these books pretty fast. You might want to slow down a little bit and go back over. So I hope that overview of the plan, whenever you get it, it kind of helps you understand what we're looking at here, and just know that we're all able to make these plans and to have a more meaningful classroom environment for our corrections classroom. When I started 10 years ago, we did not do much of any distance learning. And the distance learning that we did have was packets stapled together. So it was just one of those things where we'd staple the answer sheets that we created, and we're saying that, go in this book and do these and bring me back this stapled answer sheet. This right here, it allows us to be a little bit more flexible when it comes to class cancellations, to be able to say we're going to go over day 13 when you come back, and make sure that you have that complete, so we can go over that. So at this time, I'm going to let Dan talk a little bit about the books that I brushed up on, and let him tell you a little bit more about them.
And I'll be happy to do that, Orville, and thank you. There is a question, though, from Rose, and
Okay.
Rose wants to know, do you have a minimum reading, math, or language TABE score that students need to have before they can start your 37-day program?
No, actually, whenever I first started, I was making it to where each one of my students needed to be at an NRS level 4. That's what we in Indiana require them to be at in order to take the high school equivalency test, is an NRS level 4. So my thinking was that I'm going to use TABE books and things of that nature to get them to the NRS level 4, and then start it on this HiSET plan. I quickly found out that they weren't getting through the material, enough of the material, before I got them to take the practice test. So each one of my students get this plan on day 1. I mainly have NRS level 4 and above, but I have some students that come into me at an NRS level 3, or even NRS level 2 in rare occasions. But I do give them to it. And if you go on the correlations, you can see where each one of the books fit into the D level. So when they're going through my packs, they're going through the TABE material as well, if that answers.
Well, it should, and I'll watch for other questions. Actually, it looks like maybe we do have one. It says, is your program set up with open enrollment? That's from Carrie.
Yes, my classroom is open enrollment. If you can see my classroom behind the computer screen, I've got 10 more packets and students set up that are going to be starting next Monday, and the Monday after that. So that, again, that's one of the reasons why I designed this, is because it helped me kind of better get the students to where they need to be in this open enrollment class. Now, I do have one class of a closed enrollment, so I have 2 open enrollments and 1 closed enrollment. And the closed enrollment, I start them all off on day 1, and then I work through it. We're getting ready to start another closed enrollment class up in a couple of weeks, and that's why I got so many new students getting ready to start.
And I just wanted to give them a glimpse of this plan that we will share with them. And if we have time, you can talk about the different components of it here and how it all works. But I just wanted to let everyone know that there will be a follow-up email that goes out after the webinar, and that email will have a number of things in it. One of the things that it will have is information about these materials that Orville has referenced, the New Readers Press HiSET Prep Series. It will also have a certificate of participation. It'll have the recording of this webinar. Orville's slide deck and the 37-day plan itself. So couple of things about the materials. There is a book called Writing for the HiSET Exam. It helps test takers with, and I've got to move Orville's picture here, with high scoring responses by practicing with writing prompts and using evidence to support their claims. There are 15 paired text passages with prompts. There's a planning box to help test takers organize their thoughts. It includes a HiSET scoring guide and answers and exemplars. There are the 4 core subject area books. They contain the practice, the strategies that students need to pass the exam. The math book features 7 relevant thematic units that explain ratios, algebra, geometry, measurement, statistics, probability, and more. The language arts book features 6 relevant thematic units that explore the skills needed to read fiction, poetry, and nonfiction, the conventions of language and writing, the process of writing an evidence-based argument, and again, more. The social studies book features 4 relevant thematic units, geography, history, civics and government, and economics. And the science book features, again, 4 relevant thematic units, science and inquiry, science, inquiry and skills, earth and space science, physical science, and life science. The website looks like this. I'm going to go there in just a sec to show you where to find the different components and especially the correlations and crosswalks that Orville referenced. You scroll down, there's even more available, including practice for your calculator, a guide to bridging ESL learners to the HiSET, a comprehensive HiSET prep book, etc. And then on our website, you can find our catalog. And I just wanted to point out that all of these materials are on pages 29, 30, and 31 of the catalog. Let's take a look at the website real quick. So, and there is a question in chat, Orville, if you want to take a look at that. I'll check it out too here in a second. The way our website works, you've got this little toolbar at the top. And if you go to HiSET Prep and you just click on HiSET Test Prep Series, when you scroll down here, you'll come to a website where you can see the different books. And if you actually click on a book, that's what you have to do. You have to click on a title. And then when you scroll down, it says, well, here are free resources and correlations. One of the free resources is a crosswalk that Orville referenced earlier. This one is for online learning. So that's a digital program. But here are the correlations. Language arts for the HiSET, writing correlations. Language arts for the HiSET, correlated to the HiSET reading correlations, etc. And you can open these up, and these are all just PDF documents that you can download. So let's see what else we have there. There's the writing book on this one. If you click on it and scroll down, you also have some videos. If you have the ability to show videos in your classroom to help you, they are recorded writing workshop series for the HiSET test. We've got the Score Boost series. These are review and practice. So the books themselves are the core instruction, but these workbooks are review and extra practice and test taking strategies. So you can see the titles here underneath each one. For example, Score Boost for the HiSET essay writing and organizational skills. These are available in 10 packs. And again, if you click on these, you'll find out more about what is available here. And again, more correlations and resources down here. Here's one of those crosswalks. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. If you're looking for a crosswalk, this is a crosswalk between New Readers Press and the print resources. So if you're using our print-based curriculum and you're in lesson 1 and you need extra practice, as Orville mentioned earlier, you can go to Score Boost for the HiSET thinking skills, critical thinking, and it tells you exactly what page. Or you can go to our Kaplan HiSET test prep book, etc. And again, if you go to the bottom of our website, it says request a catalog. And when you open that page, you can click to download the entire catalog and expand it to full size and flip through the pages. And if you go to page 29, I think I could type that in, but I'll just click to it. 29, 30, 31. These are the HiSET pages. So Orville, I'm going to stop sharing. Take a look at the chat again. It says, number one, Orville, how is the writing HiSET book different from the New Readers Press writing for the GED books 3 and 4?
So I haven't switched to GED quite yet. But looking at the GED books 3 and 4, the 3 has quite a bit more structure for the students to be able to learn about different components of writing. In the writing for HiSET book, it looks and it is exactly like the writing book number 4 for the GED test. Flipping through, there are different essay topics, though. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, and I'm not the product expert here at New Readers Press, but I will go into the GED writing books, and what I will show you something that if you click on that book 3, and if you're already familiar with it, you wouldn't need to do this. But if you click on book 3, all of these, we have a look inside. And in the look inside, you get the table of contents, and then you get some samples. Again, I could make this a full-size page. But what I wanted to do is just take a look at, I think the essay, I'm pretty sure the essays differ. The focus of the types of essays differ between the GED and the HiSET.
Yeah.
Again, not an expert, so I don't know, but you can check out the table of contents here for the GED book 3, and you can do the same thing for book 4. And then when you go back to the page there at the top and you go to HiSET, well, actually, I've already got that writing book open somewhere. You can always just also type in writing for HiSET. And there it is, and click on it. When you click on it, once again, just look inside and look at that table of contents and do the comparison for yourselves. But you know what? I'll put in chat my email address, and you can send questions that we don't get answered to me. And I've lost track of where you are now, Orville. I'm still sharing my screen, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me come back. I'm going to put my email into the chat. Questions can be sent to me. And if I didn't get them answered thoroughly, I will check with someone who knows. And you can, so send those questions to me and I'll get back to you.
I have an email there as well. If people would like to reach out to me for any additional questions. As I said, today it was just one of those things where I was trying to share a tool that I feel like really works in my classroom. I like to share those things. So if you have any questions, I've got an email address there where you can send me questions if you got questions about this or about anything really with adult education. So it's just one of those things where I want to help others. So
there's one other question in here. How did you decide on the 37 days?
Well, it was not some like just great revelation or anything. It was I went one lesson out of every book, and it ended on day 37. So
okay.
But it works.
And Roberta, yes, I know, I just turned on my camera. Orville doesn't have his on, but yeah, I thought before we ended things, we would, we're about to sign off here. Any other questions? Yes. It says, are there any significant changes between the 2015 and the 2016 writing for the GED test? So that comes from, I got this update on Zoom, and now my font size is so big in the chat that I can literally not see much of anything here. But that's from Carrie.
I had in 2016, I was still yet on the task. And then we went to the HiSET. So I don't know about that one.
So I work with people who can answer that, Carrie. So I will save the chat. I'll send those questions out tomorrow morning, and I will get answers for you. And Karen Crawford just said, Orville is great. I can't wait to get your plan and improve my class. All right. You know, we've got plenty of time. Any other questions? I won't rush off here, but we are finished unless there are other questions. Okay. Well, Orville, on behalf of New Readers Press, thank you for coming and sharing. And I don't know how many hours, you know, I'm going to go back one more time just to this document and see if there's anything you want to say about it before they get their hands on it. So this is what it looks like. I'm not on page 1. There are 92 pages. I would just easily scroll to the top if the toolbar wasn't in the way. And before they get this, probably Monday, you know, is there anything you want to say that they should go and look at first, or just, is it pretty easy to use and you just go through it in order?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to use. We just go through it in order. Like I said, it's one of those things where it was a format that worked for me. It was mainly just getting something in the hands of the students that they could write their answers in and keep them right there. This one itself is not editable. It's not to where you can reformat it because it is a PDF. But if they email me, I could get them the other one on this version of it. It's ever changing. It'll be changing whenever we go from the HiSET to the GED. I'll probably be updating it and going from there.
And Michelle said, do we have anything? Do you, Orville, do you have anything like this for GED? I know you've got an answer for that.
No, not yet. I'm working on it, but we haven't made the hard switch or even a soft switch yet for the HiSET. But I am working on it. So if you want to email me whenever I get it, I'll see about letting you know.
Okay. I guess that's it for chat. So everyone, the work you do is fantastic work. You're doing the adult ed that is being done all across the country, but you have an additional layer of challenges that you have to overcome or deal with, and that's why we wanted to have a correction specific webinar, and I plan to have a few more of these in the future. So thank you for joining, and Orville, again, thank you very much for sharing the results of your hard work with us here.
All right, thank you.